Welcome to the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. On today's episode, I have the honor of speaking to a young man by the name of Chase. Chase, I was not expecting to see you on this call today, but I was expecting to have a lot of conversation in regard to you. Your mom reached out to me at the 24th hour and was like, I can't do it right now, but my baby is prepared. And that just tells me, as a mother, she's doing everything she can to keep you prepared for life. And I appreciate her diligence. But Chase, could you give the world an introduction of who you are?
Yeah, my name is Chase. I'm 16. I've had diabetes for 13 years because I was diagnosed when I was 3. For 13 years, and I like to play basketball a lot. I'm in a dual enrollment program, so I'm going for engineering and robotics. And I'm from also, and I live here currently.
You're only 16, but you just told me a lot like you prepared to take over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. As I tell people like what I do, I'm trying to take on and over the world, trying to make sure that our presence is gifted to everybody. But yeah, you're 16. You were diagnosed at 3 years young.
Yeah.
Living with diabetes is all you know.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I learned how to count carbs and all that when I was like 4, and by the time I was like 6, I already knew like my basal rate and how to like calculate carbs, not just count them, but like how to calculate them so I can get insulin. I know how to give myself a syringe by the time I was 6, and by the time I was like probably like 10, I was changing my own sites and stuff. So I could say I was like progressing faster around my age, like with everything really. But,
yeah, I can sense that like your intellectual abilities as a young person were far more advanced.
Yeah.
And I would never say diabetes gives us any pluses, but that was a plus.
Yeah.
Because when you look at your peers, other people the same age, even from the same location, same schooling background, you were highly more advanced than them.
Indeed.
At 3 years young, you were starting to become that engineer. You were developing that brain.
Yeah, I was, and I'm like interested in like cars and motorcycles and all that stuff as a kid. So, and I also think that's why, like in a way, I think that's like they kind of correlate in being able to deal with diabetes and knowing a lot of stuff about like mechanics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't really know how to explain it, but I think you kind of get the idea.
I truly do get it. You having grown with it and knowing like even the tedious aspects to it, the measurable steps, the balances, all of those things that you have to do to make sure that the outcome is to your liking.
Yeah.
You're able to do that from a very young age. And you mentioned like playing basketball, I'm sure with athletics, you're able to understand the nuances of the science of it. Like, it's not just about how athletic you are, how high you can jump, but you know the different strategic steps, like the coaches did.
Yeah.
Chase, I must say right now, I've recorded with like 60 plus people on this podcast, mainly adults, a couple of teens.
Yeah.
The youngest was a 10-year-old. But I can say right now to to you, good brother, that I've never recorded with someone who seems as prepared for life as you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So when I say prepared for life, I mean like not just diabetes wise, but just prepared for whatever comes your way and you're able to handle it. Um, Being diagnosed at 3 years young again and not truly knowing any difference, your mom showed you a way to just navigate life, knowing, I mean, you know that you have this condition, you know that it has its faults, but she made sure that nothing about you was faulty.
Absolutely. Right.
Right. When did you first realize growing up that you actually had diabetes or that you were a bit indifferent than other children?
Like, when did I like become conscious about it?
Yes.
Um, I forget what grade this was. I could probably ask my mom if she would know, but I forget what grade this was. But I was young, and I like walked into class on the first day, and I had a Dexcom at this point. So, this was like the D5, so it was a big old patch on the back of my arm. So I walked into class, and this kid, he was like, "What's that on your arm?" And I was like, "It's a Dexcom," and I like started explaining it. And he was like, "Can I take it off?" And I was like, "No, I kind of like need it, right?" And then so I just like walk away, and then he like tries to grab it off my arm. I was like, why is he doing that? And then my mom had explained to me like like I had told her what happened on the way home. She had explained to me like kids haven't seen stuff like this yet, especially not this young. Like nobody's really seen stuff like this, especially not around your age. So they're curious and they're gonna ask a lot of questions and they're gonna probably sometimes do stuff like that. It doesn't make it okay, but it's like they have they're just curious and they don't know what it is. So they try to they kind of try to figure it out. And apparently that's how some people do it, just by taking the initiative on their own or something. And that's when I realized I wasn't the same as them.
Right. You had a superpower that they didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you think of like young people, I remember being a kid. I wasn't diagnosed at 3. But I remember being a kid and just anytime you saw something new, even you today, you see something new, whether it's like a new Hellcat out on the streets, you're like, wow. Even today when we see those Tesla cyborg trucks, even now as ugly as they are, we're like, wow, like they're really driving that.
Yeah.
Right. Someone with a new fresh pair of Jordans, you like, those are nice. Someone pop up in front, like in class, and they got like a new bruise on their arm. You asking questions like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
The only difference between that and us with our medical devices is that you can admire those things closely, but our medical devices, you must admire from afar.
Yeah.
Ask your questions. Hopefully I can answer those questions,
Right.
but do not invade my space.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Do you recall being a young person at school, like going through stuff like recess and gym, and how teachers or nurses treated you or reacted towards those things?
yeah. So you mean like in gym and recess, like how like they told me like sit out and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, this happened so many times. Like I can't even really like recall one specific time, but like usually when something like that happens, I'll be like sort of like ready to go outside or whatever and walking onto the yard, and they'll like pull me aside and be like, "Oh, Chase, are you sure you're okay to go play?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I'll genuinely be confused most of the time. Like when I was younger, I would be like confused, like why are you asking me this? As if I'm not like I'm gonna pass out or something. But like they would ask me like, "Oh, are you alright to go play?" And so I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I'll go, and like I swear every 5 minutes they would call me back over to check on me. But I like if something's wrong, I'll tell you. Like I don't need you to constantly check on me like this. And and another thing is it's kind of like embarrassing almost because your peers see you like getting pulled to the side a lot and all that, and everybody starts asking questions and stuff. So it's that's another kind of perspective on why it can make it uncomfortable and stuff like that. And another and related to that question is with food, when like whenever we're about to eat something, or like one time I was on a trip actually, a school field trip. We went to we went to go get the hoagies, I think actually, and this teacher like she low key would not let me eat because she was like, "Oh well, I think it just has a lot of carbs. I don't think that you should be eating this." I'm like, and I was trying to explain to her that like I just have to put the numbers in my pump and I can eat it along with my blood sugar, obviously, but like put that stuff in and I can eat. And she's like, "Oh, but I just want to be safe," and I just kept thinking like being safe is not letting me eat. So it was just stupid. And instead of calling my mom, she just would not let me eat until we got back to the school and we got in contact with the nurse. So
Yeah, she took it upon herself
yeah,
to try to take on that role as a medical provider, as your parent, as yourself, your own body self. Because by that time, like, if you're able to articulate with her the facts that I'm able to eat these carbs as long as I check my blood sugar and input these carbs and corrections, whatever I need, then that bulb should have lit for her. Like
yeah,
if he's able to articulate these things and express them to me, then maybe I should fall back because it sounds like he has this.
yeah.
Like,
And it wasn't even like she was like a sub or something. Like this was a teacher I had throughout the whole year. So she knows, like she's seen me give myself insulin through my pump and all that. So, and that's just another thing. I don't think people really pay attention to how much like we do on a daily basis to take care of diabetes in ourselves.
yeah, expound on that because I know from it's more than 24/7, 365. Look, this is 25/8, 366
Yeah.
because there's no time off, even when we sleep. That's when people really think like, oh, you sleep, so you're fine. Or like if we're sick or ill, they're like, oh, go take a nap, you rest.
We
Like,
came on the or skyrocket to 600 something, man. Like, but yeah, I mean, like perfect example. Last night actually, my blood sugar I went low, and it was like 4 something in the morning, and thankfully I woke up. But I woke up and I'm like looking for something to eat, and there was fruit snacks, but the dog got to go outside, so I'm trying to let the dog out and still trying to get to these fruit snacks because my blood sugar is low. But and then I couldn't go back to sleep because I was going to probably just drop again, so I had to wait like probably about like 20, 30 minutes just to check again and wait and see if I was going to go down again. And then eventually I get to go back to sleep. So
the disruptions that do occur, there's so many different variables that exist with living with a chronic health condition that is type 1 diabetes. So many things such as our hormonal changes. Like you're a growing young man. 2 years ago, the amount of insulin your basal compared to today, I'm sure it has drastically changed.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, things such as adrenaline. You said you played basketball. When you're out on the basketball court, like most people think, like, oh, you're running around, your blood sugar is going to drop, but it also may rise because of the adrenaline.
Yeah, I had a couple of those before. It was the first time confused me like crazy.
Yeah, if we didn't have things such as a CGM, the Dexcom, like it would be mere impossible to know these things. That's why that kid in your classroom should stay far away from your Dexcom.
Yeah,
You spoke about something a few minutes ago about when going like to recess and stuff, and you're talking about how the teachers will check in on you in like every 5 minutes, and how you didn't like that sense of isolation. Living with type 1 diabetes is filled with a lot of isolated things that we do, that we encounter, such as you said, waking up 2, 3, 4 in the morning by ourselves,
yeah,
teachers pulling us aside, or employers pulling us aside, checking in, like, are you okay? What's wrong? Those types of things. Just small little tedious things that truly do affect us. And with a child, I said this to the young lady I recorded with probably about 7, 8 months ago, who's 10 years old. She said one of the biggest issues and concerns with her is how teachers fail to understand that she's been living with diabetes all these years and she knows what she's doing.
and sometimes I feel like people just gotta realize they gotta just fall back and let us do what we gotta do because we know our own bodies. We know what we're doing. It's not like this isn't the first time we've done this. I promise you.
Mhm.
We've done all of this before, plenty of times.
Right. And it's a learning process.
Most definitely.
It's like if today you decided, okay, I want to become this world-class track and field athlete, you're
Yeah.
going to learn everything you can to become that. And you're going to put that into your day-to-day lifestyle. I mean, we didn't choose diabetes, but now that it's incorporated in our day-to-day lifestyle, we do everything we can to be at our best. You said that you said you just came. I think you said you just came back to. I think you said that at the in the intro.
Oh yeah. My freshman. So I lived in my whole life until 8th grade.
Okay.
My freshman year of high school, we moved. And then we moved to that was my sophomore year. I spent it, and now I've moved back here.
You're a junior now?
Junior now, yes.
You've been in 3 different high schools?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're used to being on the move, being on the go.
Yeah.
You tell mom we finishing at this school?
The dual enrollment program. So
I have a 15-year-old. He'll be 16 in November. He's in 10th grade right now.
I got you.
Yep. So he goes to a vocational high school. So he's studying like carpentry and engineering and things like that.
Cool.
Do you currently play basketball?
Yeah. Well, I'm out right now for about a week because of my knee, but I'm playing for my school this year at string theory. And other than that, other than practices and stuff, I'm usually I'm outside at the recreation centers and stuff.
What you play, the one?
Yeah, one or two. It depends on what my other teammates look like.
Right. I mean, in today's modern basketball, as you got to be able to play both positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like be able to switch off, even like some three. because most threes are great at ball handling today, decision making. I'm an avid basketball hooper, like play basketball my entire life. Basketball and track are my sports.
I got you.
I love football also, but basketball and track. Like I coach track. Like my daughter's track team, I coach. I coached at Penn Relays this past year.
I got you.
Yeah.
I wanted to do track last year, but I never really got to it, you know.
It's fun, especially if you get on a relay team. Like make sure you tell them like if you consider yourself fast, like I want to run the 100 and 200. Let them know I want to be Usain Bolt. Like let them know the 4x1 and the 4x200 have always been like I love them. The aspect like the relays, handing a baton, like you're working as a team.
I got you.
Yep. Do you ever think of like challenges that may exist for you growing into your adulthood, living with diabetes?
Like what? Can you give me an example?
Um, being by yourself, things like that, having to tend to or everything being wrapped around like your employment, your job, driving.
Yeah. Only actually with driving, I actually just got my permit about a month ago probably. And like having to check like not having to check my blood sugar before I drive, but if it's not in range, I can't drive. So my range is 70 150. If it's not within that range, I can't drive because technically my body's going through similar feelings of being under the influence of whether like alcohol or any drug. So it isn't legal for me to drive with a higher low blood sugar.
Now, do you have like a medical note for that, or is it like on your permit? Like if
It's a part of the medical note.
okay, understand. Look, I understand. And when you just said that 70 to 150, and you being the growing man that you are, like I know that if I asked you right now, things like what's your time in range, you probably know. Do you pay attention to those things?
I do like I all right, so I don't know my time range like off the top of my head, but I do know how to
You know how to access it.
yeah. Because it's all in my pump now. And that's one thing I can say though, like since I've started to I've started to rely on my pump a lot more. So there's a lot of stuff that I just don't remember off the top of my head as much as I used to be able to. Because it's all just in my pump in the settings and it just does it by itself. But if I need to like do syringes, I can calculate all that. Like I know my range, I know my divider, all that stuff. So
Yeah, the biggest difference from doing like MDI, multiple daily injections
yeah,
from a pump would be learning that ISF, insulin sensitivity factor,
yeah.
and insulin duration. Like having to calculate like how long ago did I put that insulin in? Because no one likes doing log books of anything.
Uh,
Right. And yeah, having to take notes of your blood sugar on a regular. Nah. What pump do you use?
tandem.
Okay, tandem control IQ. And
We're working to get the control IQ.
oh, you don't have the control IQ right now.
We did the classes and stuff. We just have to get it downloaded now.
Okay, so you know that with that tandem control IQ, like it does automatic adjustments.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll truly enjoy that. Like, I think the lowest that your target, you can put your target at 112. But you can still have your same like 70 to 150, but your target will be 112 and your pump will do as much as it can to try to keep you there. Like if it sees you trending upwards, like post 2 hours after a meal, if you're trending upwards like 130-ish, it'll give you a micro bolus to
Yeah.
bring you back to that 112 range. And if you're going low, like trending below like 80, it'll reduce your basal to bring you back into that 112 range. So like how you mentioned, like with the pump and things, like you don't know like all the settings as previously, but when you get that tandem control IQ, you're gonna know them even less.
Yeah, I'm probably barely gonna be touching it unless I eat or something. But
Right. Always pre-bolus.
yeah,
Yeah. That's something I have to always reiterate to people because a lot of people are like, well, my blood sugar is like 400 or 500 after I ate. And I'm like, did you pre-bolus? And they're like, well, I gave insulin when I was 30 minutes into the meal or something. I'm like, just try to pre-bolus. That pre-bolus will bring your A1C down a whole 1 or 2 points.
yeah, for sure. I used to post bolus when I was younger, but I
That's
was
recommended.
yeah, because there's a chance I like won't even eat all my food. But I think I switched over by the time I was like 5. So it's my a majority of free bolusing. So
Do you like eyeball things like, okay, I'm about to eat this pizza. I know, like, do you like guess like how many carbs it's going to be?
yeah, if I'm out like for stuff like that, usually yeah, because like for pizza down here, there's this place I usually go for pizza, and the slices are it's like by the slice, so the slices are real big, and I'll usually do like 45 for those. But mainly, and like we both noticed, but stuff with bread, those are usually higher carbs. Um,
Yeah, higher carbs, high protein and fat. So, let's say a slice of pizza, you do 45. Um, you should know that post like within and after 2 hours, that it's going to start rising a bit.
yeah,
And then at the 4 to 5 hour mark, it's going to start rising some more. So that is all based on that slow rise of that fat and protein.
yeah, and then it's keeping it up there because of the protein.
Look, you know it all. Do you think today that who do you think knows more about diabetes today? You or your mom?
Honestly, my mom, even today, she's like she'll like I'll do something. Let's say I check for ketones, and she'll like just give me like a random tip that like I never even knew about. I'm like this is random. I don't even know if it's true, but like she'll be like, all right, well you gotta check it again in 3 hours to see if you still have it or something like. Then like I wouldn't have even known that. Like it just be random. It'll be random stuff, and like she'll just give me tips that I never even knew, or give me advice that I never knew. And sometimes it's stuff that she learned from like the doctors and stuff, and then some of it is just from what she's observed like throughout raising me with diabetes and seeing like how my body reacts to certain like different trends and all that type of stuff. So
Right. There's no greater teacher than the teaching of experience.
indeed.
Um, and that just had me like I wanted to transition into something, and I just circled it. Have you ever, or do you ever think you being this maturing young man, the effects diabetes has had on your mom over the years?
Yeah, it was probably really stressful as a couple of years. Because right when I got diagnosed, my she was pregnant with my little sister. So it was a lot going on even with that. And I'm obviously like I'm not my mom, so I can't tell you like exactly, but this is just what I've seen and what I probably would feel. But stress mostly. Um and she just learned a lot also from it. Like different skills. She can give needles. Like my grandma, she has she takes TPNs, and she can do that from my grandma now, like much easier than she probably would be able to because she's had experience with giving me needles as a younger kid. And so, and compared to like a kid that's like running away from needles versus your mom who's able to just sit there and take it, it's probably much easier to do that. But that's just one example of many of skills that she's probably gained from teaching me and dealing with diabetes and with me and all that type of stuff. So
Right. I'm going to take this moment to gift your mom her flowers because as a parent, as a mother, I call our dia moms are second to none
yeah,
because the things that they have done as Chase diagnosed at 3 years young, your mom did everything she could to keep you alive.
yeah,
Like, I mean, not just the natural sense of just mothering and nurturing a child, but she had to throw on that cape and keep it on, like bulletproof, like no matter what. She had to fight and be an advocate from day one on just like medical things that she had to learn at a young age. And I mean, today, for real, her true flowers are you. Like you are the flowers because her young man has literally gone from a boy to a man. Like seriously. And it shows that she actually did everything she could for you. And I know as a parent myself that that also helped her in her growth and in her development.
and on top of all of that, bro, I was her firstborn.
Right.
So this is her first time doing all of this stuff on top of having to deal with diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So
And look, you're 16, so that means you have a 13-year-old sister.
she's about to be 13 in November.
Look, I have a 13-year-old daughter. So yeah, you prepared her for everything in life because uh, girls are different. They're amazing. They're wonderful. Like they're everything. But learning the hormonal changes and everything about a girl, how like one day this person's their best friend, the next day like they eliminate it from life in general. Like they didn't know that person and everything. Like you helped your mom because she was able to have that growth mindset that okay, I've had the challenges and grown to nurture Chase. So now I have another baby. So I know now because of growing and nurturing Chase that I too can make my second child, my young girl, be like grow more so like independently because 16 years old and your independence with diabetes, Chase, is immaculate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've met other people your age with diabetes, but like you're second to none.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before we move forward, I did want to ask, is there anything that you want to make sure that we cover in this during this recording? Because this podcast is released worldwide. So if there's anything you want to share, any insight, anything at all.
I do want to talk about like having friends with type 1. Sometimes you don't gotta really be friends, just people you could talk to, you know?
Let's talk about it because community means everything.
Yeah.
Like, even just being a man of color, like certain things we don't hear people speaking about at all as far as like mental health, well-being, staying at your physically best, those types of things. Um, just having like emotional support. And when you tack on living with a chronic health condition such as type 1 diabetes, we know that well, from my own experience, it wasn't until I had lived with type 1 for maybe 17, 18 years before I actually found community. Like for a while, I felt like I was the only one. Like literally, like no one else has this. Like I couldn't like, and when I found someone else did, I was like, wow. So yeah, let's speak about community.
I mean, you got it pretty good. Like just having somebody that understands what it's like on a daily basis of having type one, what it's like to go through life with it, and being able to talk to them about that, it really does make a difference. Um, that being able to ask them like questions like, my pump keeps doing this, how do I fix it or whatever, like just giving each other tips and stuff like that. That's another major thing for me that I really enjoy about having like about knowing people that have it one also. And just mostly they're amazing people. Like they're just fun people to be around and to talk to, and like they're cool people to be around, and
Yeah, I just made this post on Instagram a few days ago, because I have a pretty large following on there. And I made this post about people living with type 1 diabetes are the most sympathetic and empathetic people around. I said, because we truly know the ins and outs of living with this condition. And even when other people are going through things, like people that don't live with type 1, like are going through things, like we, like our empathy capes are always on trying to help them in their healing journey.
yeah,
And me being the person I am, like anytime, if you ever need a conversation, I make myself available for my people anytime, every time. And you're growing, so I'm going to invite you to have you been to any type 1 meetups?
I haven't been to meetups, but I have done like campaigns and stuff like that. Like I did out of Congress multiple years in DC. We went to,
With the JDRF?
yeah,
I know. Were you a youth ambassador?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that was the title for it. Yeah, I went with my mom, and the most memorable year was when they did this like collaboration with the NFL, and everybody had like a handful of people had their own group that a player was assigned to. I met a player. I think he was retired at the time, but I met a player named Matthew Hatchett, and he was coolest dude. But but yeah, I've done stuff like that. I've done talks with there- this company called Beyond Type One, and that's how I met my one of my close friends, Henry. His mom, I think she was like the co-founder, CEO of the company, and Henry has type one, so we've been talking ever since. And I went out there actually last summer, and spent like a couple of weeks out there with him in Washington. So but yeah, I've done some stuff like that, but I haven't done a meetup though. That's like can you describe it?
So this year, so every year I host a meetup. Last year we like had one where we met at a restaurant and everyone living with type 1 diabetes came there. We just like really just be unapologetically ourselves. Like
Yeah,
there's no hiding anything. We talk about everything. We had one on a rooftop 2 years ago outside, but this year we're doing one. It's called a T1D Friendsgiving meetup. Like
mm-hmm.
it's like a potluck type of thing. So I'll invite you, your family, whoever wants to come. But that's going to be Sunday, November the 17th. So we were just working out the details on that because we did realize that the Eagles don't play that Sunday. So
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, community means everything, and you stating like the things that you've been doing since you were young, like going to Congress, like that helps build you up because usually by the age of 15, 16, 17, you hear about a lot of the distress that occurs with a young person living with diabetes. Burnout, like diabetes burnout is real.
absolutely.
But when you have community, have people who you can actually speak to, communicate with that truly understand it and or they really embody it, like because they go through it, like it lessens that burden. And that's something we truly need, just the burden of living with it lessened.
And sometimes even just like sometimes just knowing that there's someone there that could help you. So like you don't even need to actually interact, but like just knowing that if something happens, like I could call this person, that person, it makes it easier on yourself and it makes the stress a little less, you know?
So that's what life is all about, making the stress a little less. Like serious, because we think of when we think of like different things that have occurred over the years with people of color, with men in general, and just us being able to have that person, that peer, anyone to be able to speak to, like it means a whole lot. Like when I think of things like 2020 with George Floyd and how that truly affected us like directly,
Yeah.
and it still does affect us directly, and as it should, because that could have been any of our family members. It could have been you as you were growing. Um, Being able to have someone to be able to just speak to that has that ear to confide in and just being able to tell you like it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay because today, Chase, you and I, we both live with diabetes. Today we do. But with the brilliance of you, with the brilliance of I have my youngest son is 10, and at 10 years old he studies things like biomedicine, botany, um, bioengineering,
That's
biology. Like those are his passions, like truly his passions. And I know with young leaders like yourselves in the future that there's a bright future for people living with type 1 diabetes that someday, hopefully, that a cure is here and a cure is near.
yeah.
Because I see it. I'm not sure if you follow any like research or anything, but the research that has been shown and coming out more recently over the last 4 to 5 years, where people have been able to live without insulin for upwards of 4 to 5 years now because of the advancements in science. Like it,
But I haven't seen like I don't really follow anything, but I do remember there was this one thing my mom had told me about. She was like, it was an experiment where they transferred cells.
stem cells.
Yeah, and they like created a new pancreas or something like that. And that was the last thing I heard, but yeah, there definitely is stuff happening in the science world and helping us get closer to a cure.
Right. I mean, science is everything. Like I love science. And when we think back, like it's just been 202 years since the first person was given insulin. 102 years. 102 years. 1922. Dr. Frederick Banning first gave insulin to Leonard Thompson at the University of Toronto. In 100 years, we've seen the advancements of science. So it's been 100 years since then. There's so many more advancements that have happened and are still happening and will reoccur. So, that's all we can do is hope, right?
Yeah.
I hope that one day we'll be on a conversation talking about, Chase, you remember when you used to have to wake up 3 a.m. and check your blood sugar and eat like the fruit snacks, and the dog was the dog had to go out first and all that stuff. Like, we could have those conversations like when we used to do those things.
Yeah, like a thing in the past,
Right. Because like I said, like, we're Black men in America. When you think about, like, even like your grandfather, your great-grandfathers, great-grandparents, for them to see the things that you're able to do today, 60, 70 years ago, wasn't an option. So, yeah, anything can happen, especially when we got young leaders like yourself. Yeah, so I did want to ask you, Chase, so on the day that your friend Henry calls you up and says, yo, Chase, what's going on? And you're like, huh? And he's like, check your pump, check your CGM. And you look at it, and it shows that you've been sitting level at like 80 all night, no changes. You get up, you step on the floor, and you're so used to like your blood sugar spiking a little bit, going up when you wake up, and it still stays at 80.
Yeah.
And he's like, Chase, they said that we're cured. We're fully cured. Diabetes has been eradicated. On that day, you find out that you no longer have diabetes, Chase. What do you do?
I'm burning everything, man. I'm getting all the pump supplies, all that, pouring gas on it, propane, whatever, burning it.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it all.
The only thing I might keep is like my pump, but yeah, the Dexcom, pump site changes, all that stuff, burning it.
Look, I understand why you might keep the pump, because I'm thinking like nostalgia. Because I remember when I was your age and I had a pager. I can't find the pager today, but I wish I had one. Just nostalgia. Just like, yeah, you see this?
Yeah, now I'm burnt. I'll probably like go on a run or something.
Right.
And think those days.
No worries. You can go on a run and your blood sugar's not going to change, really. Like,
I'm not stopping.
Not stopping. You might be in that New York City marathon.
Yeah, I'm not stopping.
Did you know Beyond Type 1 does have a team in the New York City marathon?
Yeah, I've been seeing so I followed them and I've been seeing like their posts about people getting ready for the marathon and stuff.
Yeah, November the 3rd, I'll be up there.
Oh, cool. I got you. But yeah, I've been seeing posts about people like training and stuff for it.
Yeah. But yeah, on that day that the cure is here, I'm with you. Where we had that little bonfire.
Yeah.
Because we know that the memories that we've gained, the friendships that we've gained, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We know who we are. Like, you're always going to be this empathetic person. And I'm always going to be that person. Diabetes has helped us in our advancements in learning, but it has also been a burden.
Absolutely.
It's been a burden on yourself. It's been a burden on my parents. It's been a burden on your mom, your family, like everyone. It's been a great burden. And to think that in a few years, Chase, you'll be an adult and you don't even want to talk about the insurance, health insurance, and having to get these supplies and needs. And that's a whole nother ball game. So before that time gets here, hopefully a cure will be here.
All we can do is pray, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, before we before we close out, do you have any questions for me at all?
No, not really. Just email me or text me the stuff for, or my mom, the stuff for the Friendsgiving thing.
I will. I'll send it today to her.
Very cool. Thank you.
Look, Chase, as we wind down to the end of this road, I am greatly appreciative of being able to step on this journey with you. Because Chase, firstborn of Courtney, queen of all queens, right?
Yeah.
As I texted your mom before we got on, and I told her, like I told you, I'm going to title this BoyzIIMen. And she was ecstatic about that one.
Yeah.
But Chase, I've actually seen and been able to witness over the last hour just your growth from boy to men. And I can't wait to see you in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chase. I appreciate you. Enjoy the day, good brother.
Dude, thank you for having me.